And welcome back from that break. We're glad you're still watching Science TV. I am your host for this particular one, Alan Hubbard, and sign language interpreter is Gideon Minor. In studio, we are with Madame Judith Otele. She works with the National Health Insurance Fund, and in the first installment of this particular show, we spoke about benefits. We spoke about registration. We spoke about the correlation between UHC and NHIF as a whole, and NHIF is the driver that is responsible for delivering the universal health coverage. So NHIF, National Health Insurance Fund, is the driver to deliver the universal health coverage. And she mentioned something very important. Initially, NHIF was called the National Hospital Insurance Fund, but they felt that that limited the fund only strictly to hospitals. But when they changed just a little bit of the words in there and they put in health, then the scope widened a little bit so that Kenyans can be covered all round in access to do with health. I know, Madam Otele, we are supposed now to be talking about pre-authorization processes,
Yes.
but just in case there is something that we missed on in the first installment, is there anything that you'd like to piggyback on so before we go into the next one?
Yes, I would want to just tell Kenyans that we are present in all medias, and we have a toll-free line for any Kenyan who wants to ask questions. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, and we have a toll-free line which I'm going to be sharing with you at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So that if any Kenyan has questions about NHIF, they'll be able to call, and they can be even guided on how to register, where they can get access health services, and all issues that relate to NHIF. Yes.
I see they're giving them a reason to push through the whole interview yet again.
Yes.
Now, what is pre-authorization?
Pre-authorization is a process where services, a member who requires services needs to seek approval before they can have the service given. And this is critical for different reasons. One of the things is to ensure you are going to the correct facility. You are going to be attended to by the correct doctor, and that the cost of that care is within what we call customary rates. And the cost, the service is also necessary. And the NHIF, the package is within what NHIF has already agreed with the hospitals. So not all services in NHIF require
Pre-authorization.
That you don't require pre-authorization for outpatient services. You don't require pre-authorization for inpatient services. You don't require pre-authorization for maternity services. But you shall require pre-authorization for surgery. You shall require pre-authorization for oncology services, which we are saying is for cancer treatment services. You shall require pre-authorization for imaging services. And you shall require pre-authorization for overseas treatment. You shall require that. So the prior authorization or pre-authorization usually applies when a doctor decides I'm going to need to do an MRI. I'm going to need you to have chemo. I'm going to need you have radiotherapy. I'm going to need you have go overseas for treatment. It's also a control mechanism. So first and foremost, it is very important as we proceed that every member of NHIF registers their phone with NHIF, because we have an interactive messaging platform, so that every time you have access to services at whichever hospital, NHIF sends you a message to also just be in control of your account, how it is being utilized. So in prior authorization, a doctor decides, I would want Mr. Alan to have an MRI. So there will be a form that will be filled by the doctor, justifying why an MRI
is needed.
And so the form will be filled and it will be uploaded to NHIF portal by the hospital, and then it will come to the pre-authorization. And then the person who is doing the approval is a clinician.
Yeah.
So they will look at the justification. They will look to ensure that the doctor who has filled the form is qualified to do that procedure or service. Because remember, again, for surgery we have specialization. So if I find an orthopedic surgeon requesting for maternity, I will tell to be requested by the relevant specialist. Because we also want to make sure the patient or the member is being treated by the appropriate doctor. So the clinician who is now reviewing the request will see whether it meets the criteria, and then they will approve, or they will request for something additional information to be given. So when an approval is given, when a request is sent, a member receives a message that your request for this service
has been received.
Because
the doctor will include your ID number
and everything.
and all the details.
And all the details.
Yeah.
So you will receive that your request has been sent. And when it is approved, you also receive a message that your request has been approved. We are striving to make sure that is done within 48 hours. However, for emergencies, all hospitals have a way of escalating emergencies so that they can be fast-tracked. So prior authorization means that before a service is done, especially where the service is likely to be repetitive and is likely to be high costly, in quotes, we will need to give permission for that to be incurred. Because it also helps us as an organization to be able to project what is our liability at the end of the month when we are going to pay those claims. So that is the prior authorization.
Right. And does the prior authorization expire, and what is the timeline for approval? You've spoken about 48 hours, wanting to expedite it to 48 hours, but how does it look so far?
In some, in most services we are able to do in under 24 hours.
Yes.
But we put 48 hours as the
maximum.
Unless now there is other issues that are not unforeseen, like if the system has an issue or something, but we strive to make sure within 48 working hours that has been done. And once approval has been done, it can be used within 3 months. 3 months after we have approved, it can be used, after which it should expire. So like now when we are approving now in March, the expiry should be around the beginning of June. So you can use. But it is also important that the member has that message, because sometimes hospitals could request the wrong procedure for you. So the member is also able to intervene and say cancel this. Or the member can also say, and we give them 3 months so that they can also be able, if it is not something urgent, if they want to change a hospital and they want to seek a second opinion, they can still do it within that time. And if they are satisfied, then they can either go to the hospital they wanted, or they can request a child or a cancellation to go to another hospital.
And does this work, the authorization time speeds, does it also work for those who are seeking treatment from abroad, or for those who want to go overseas? It's a little bit, the time frames are a little bit different.
The time frames for overseas treatment are a bit different. Because there are external parties involved. Because before you go to overseas, there is a form that the doctor will fill for you. Then you will have to take that form to the medical council for validation that this doctor actually is retained and is qualified for particular service. Once the Kenya Medical Practitioner Dentist Council clears you, you have to go to the Ministry of Health. Then they will give the letter of no objection. Remember, when it is overseas, it's no longer just about treatment. It's about also international relations. Because this person now will be in another country. So the ministry needs to be aware that
X, Y, and Z
is likely to be out of the country for treatment, just in case there will be need for intervention, like happened during COVID. If we didn't know people who are out there, it would have been very difficult to mobilize and to ensure they are back in the country safely. And again, you never know what could happen when someone is away. So it's important for them, not just for NHIF to be aware, but also for the ministry, and by extension, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs,
Yeah.
to be aware that the person. So once the Ministry of Health gives us an okay, they have no objection for member traveling, our process takes less than even a day.
Yeah.
And we are able to give you a guarantee of payment. We don't pay
Immediately. Yeah.
We just give a guarantee of payment to the hospital where you are going.
Yeah.
And once the member has been treated and billed, that's when the claim comes to us and we pay the hospital. Yes.
So even if it's an overseas hospital, still NHIF is able to know how these funds will be remitted to that particular hospital.
Yeah, because what we do is usually you have to get a quote
Yeah.
for how much procedure is going to cost or the service is going to cost. Then depending on what you are going to, the member is going for, then you give a GOP, a guarantee of payment, equivalent to the value of that procedure or service.
Yeah.
So we can say we are undertaking to pay for XYZ up to 500,000 for this procedure. So that acts like a legal or
A document that binds you.
That binds us at
Yeah.
the hospital that is treating the patient.
Yeah.
So they will treat the patient. If the bill goes beyond the 500, then the member will top up the difference and they will send us the 500 that we undertook.
Yeah.
And then as they send their bank details of where that money
That
should
may be wired.
Yes.
All right. And compliant resolution process. How does the compliant resolution? How does this process look like?
The complaint or complaint?
Complaint resolution.
Okay. Complaint resolution occurs at different levels in the organization. And it can be one-on-one.
Yeah.
It can be through a letter.
Yeah.
Or it can be sent to the email. We have an email that is dedicated to complaints, and it is complaints@nhif.or.ke.
Yeah.
So members who have complaints can actually write emails
Yeah.
to that email. We also have our customer care unit, which is one of the best in the country.
Yeah.
And we have a toll-free number, so members can also call for complaints there. That's the number I was saying I will give at the end of
the conversation. Yeah.
Because now we are here, I
Yeah.
will just read it for us.
Yeah.
It is 0800
Yes.
720 601.
Yeah.
So that is our toll-free
Number. Yeah.
But again, all branches all over the country are also able to handle specific complaints from members, either through those who have walked in, those who have called, or those who have emailed them. And we strive to ensure that the complaints are expedited as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Again, we also have complaints where a member feels aggrieved that their card has been misused or something like that. We also have an email at fraud@nhif.or.ke. So members can also report incidences of fraud to that email. We also have info at NHIF
to seek more information.
.or.ke. And all Huduma centers, we have our staff who can actually give services to our members, whether it's complaints, whether it is registration, whether it is checking for you, the pre-authorization, and all those things. So we have a wide mechanism where complaints can be handled, and we have an open door policy where members can actually walk in and speak to officers concerned about issues that they are not comfortable or happy with in NHIF.
Right, very interesting there. And I think we've on extending the conversation on accessing treatment from abroad. Is there anything you'd like to add on to that? Because we've spoken about how the payments are made, how the doctor linked here could also make that request on behalf of the patient. But is there anything that we've left out?
Yeah, so for overseas treatment, usually our forms are on our website, www.nhif.or.ke.
Yeah.
So you can download the form, because the forms will have to be filled by the doctor. Of course, by the time you are downloading that forms, the doctor has already told you with link you need to go to seek some services outside of the country.
Yeah.
So you can download those forms from our website and have the doctor fill them. And once the doctor has filled, of course, you follow the process to the medical council, you follow the process to the MOH, and then the form is brought to our offices through the CEO's office. Usually we will just do the guarantee of payment and copy you, because your email will be in the
conversation,
form.
and the form,
NHIF currently does not work with agents. We do direct engagement with hospitals. So we have a team of people who are just handling the overseas treatment, who are at your service. And even if somebody called to the toll-free to ask for what happens for overseas treatment, we are able then to be guided to the correct person who can answer question for them. But I'm happy also that Kenya is also investing a lot in infrastructure and in doctors and ensuring those services. Most of those services that have been taking people abroad are now available. Like now we have a bone marrow transplant in Kenya unit in Nairobi West. We have CyberKnife, which is being installed in Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. We have PET scan in Aga Khan Hospital and Kenyatta University and Teaching Referral Hospital. So those are some of the things that really used to make people go abroad. Overseas. We still recognize that there will be people who will still continue going overseas as we build capacity as Kenya to ensure the healthcare system and the infrastructure can support all these services. So any member requiring overseas treatment and the doctor feels that that's where the treatment can be done, NHIF will be happy to facilitate and to ensure you can get the services.
Interesting there. Hypothetically, how long would that process be? Me downloading the forms, doctor filling them, going to the Ministry of it's almost said Education, Ministry of Health, and then probably the Foreign Ministry, the Interior Ministry. Then to how long would that process take?
It can take as short as a day. It can take longer. Because again, remember there will be some Kenyans may not have passports. So you may need first to apply for a passport. So that one is usually fast tracked because medical passports are issued. Then there will be the issue of the visa and the issue of ticket. But the process of what we call documentation can be as short as 1 day to 3 days if you are consistent. It can be as short if your doctor fills the form early in the morning. You can go to the medical board by mid-morning, then you can go to the Ministry of Health
by the afternoon,
and the following day the letter is with NHIF. And then once we receive the letter, we just do the GOP and now allow you to travel if you have all the documentation required for travel.
As we're winding up, what do you have to tell the viewer who was stuck through the whole interview?
I would want to say to you viewers and my colleagues, my fellow Kenyans, NHIF is one of the most affordable health insurance you can have. It's only 20 shillings per day that you need to set aside to be able to cover yourself and your family. And it is important for every Kenyan to purpose to have NHIF. The benefits are so many that if you look at the return on investment of 20 shillings per day, the return is
very high.
And we are healthy today, but you never know what could happen
tomorrow.
The next minute. You could be walking and you get into an accident. You could just an outbreak and you have a disease. So it is always important to be prepared. Like they say in Scout, be prepared always. And the only way you can be prepared is to ensure your card, you have an NHIF card and that it is active. Kindly do not default on payments. Give it priority because no one has an appointment with an illness. And an illness is a poverty, any illness is poverty away. So because one of the most important cause of poverty or increase in poverty is illness because healthcare is expensive. NHIF is here to relieve that expense from you. We only expect you to commit 20 shillings per day to to NHIF, and we will be here as your trusted partner to make sure you have access to health services.
A trusted partner indeed.
Yeah.
Contact details as we wind up completely. Contact details for avenues that people can use to reach NHIF.
Yeah, as I said, you can use our toll-free number.
Yes.
Which I said is 80800-720-601. You can also use Twitter at NHIF Kenya, Facebook at NHIF Kenya, and our website is www.nhif.or.ke.
Yeah.
Yes, and email info@NHIF. You can also send your messages through email.
And something that I also learned, if you have complaints, it's complaints.
Complaints@nhif.or.ke.
If you are reporting any forgery or what there is a word that you used.
Fraud.
Yes, if you're reporting fraud, it's fraud.
Fraud@nhif.or.ke.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Otele, for the work that you're doing with NHIF and also for bringing this information to our viewers.
Yeah, we will be granted to ensure that you keep abreast with NHIF. So we are here also to ensure that you understand, because the benefits we've spoken about are so deep.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point we can be able to break each benefit down so that member
Independently.
knows what each of these benefits entails. Yes.
All right. I hope you've gotten value. As always, I know because of the feedback that you give us that you get value from such conversations. For this one, we've been with Madam Judith Otele. She is from the National Health Insurance Fund, and she has told you all that she is in charge of. And probably, if you have any complaint any one of these days, you might bump into her at the NHIF offices. I've been your host, Alan Hubbard, and sign language has been Gideon Minor. I wish you a blessed day and see you in the next one.